where we are employed. Does that change when you go into business?
It doesn't change because for me, I talk about internal hygiene. You've got to take care of yourself inside. Look at your paradigm, your thinking, your values, your beliefs, and your attitude. They are very key because those are constant with you. So if you don't take care of that, unfortunately, relocating to an environment, you are going with yourself.
It's the same person.
The same person. So if you didn't have a mechanism of dealing what you had on this side, going on the other side will even be more complex because maybe there was a cushion on this side where you could lean on, something you could lean on. On the other side, you are really exposed on your own. So until you deal with your internal dynamics absolutely properly and correctly, and then be familiar with who you are as a person, about your response mechanisms to issues, I think sometimes you're going to find yourself a lot of trouble on the other side. That's what I said in that book, which means even I'm speaking to myself, is that our setbacks, our challenges and failures have more to do with me than with my environment. More to do with me. I'm not absorbing the environment, absolutely, but have to do more with me. I'll tell you
bigger percentage
exactly.
is on the individual.
Yeah. It's not, very many cases, you're going to find people who are very qualified, technically sound, knowledgeable, absolutely. They even have the capital in the first place. Even the capital will be there, even the infrastructure, and they're not making progress.
They are not making any progress. All right, Caleb, let me come to you. And you already gave us your reason, so to speak, why you moved from being a journalist to a farmer. Yeah. And I'm sure for many young people, that is, it's not the way to go because, I mean, journalism somehow looks a bit more sexy than farming. Exactly. But for yours, it was passion-driven.
Yes.
But passion does not eliminate mistakes.
True.
Passion does not eliminate challenges that you go through. What are some of those challenges that you went through?
I think the first challenge was my unmet needs of the expectations. That was a big challenge because after I left, I expected to be the next millionaire. I'm yet to become one. Because we were getting into farming, or I got into farming with, there was what I would call a neo-agrarian revolution that was taking place, 2012, 2013, 2014, days of the quail farming and rabbit farming. I was stuck right in the middle of that.
You were right in the middle of that.
Yes, because the blogs said ex-farmer is now making $1 million per month from selling rabbit urine. So I had high expectations, but they were not anchored in the four things I talk about. Number one, before you get into farming, understand your market. I didn't understand my market. What problem are you solving in the marketplace? For me, the biggest problem is population. And thank God we are going to go through another census in a few days to come. According to the 2009 census, the country's population is growing by 2.5% per annum. Quick math tells you about 750,000 to 1 million people are being born every year. So those people need to be fed. You said something about apathy towards farming and farmers in general. Today, if I go to conferences and when they're being introduced, the clap is like, yeah, but you hear Dr. XYZ, yeah, everybody is happy, you're a pilot, you're a doctor. So I got into farming because as long as many young people do not want to be involved in farming, or they look at farming as a dirty career for the old, the uneducated, for retirees, then there must be an opportunity right there where many people are not getting into. Look at rural-urban migration. We have left very good arable land back in the villages. We are all coming to hustle in this concrete jungle. So there is an opportunity there. But at that time when I was starting, I didn't know all these factors. I thought, get into farming, how bad can it be? How hard can it be? Sow a seed, it will germinate, you have your crop, you go and sell. He talked something about, and I call it emotional intelligence. I didn't think I would have to deal with my employees' issues, emotional issues. Here you are, you have worked for 6 years as a journalist, and I was reporting to a boss. But now I have people reporting to me. Now, emotionally, if I'm not ready to deal with a guy who come and tell you, tumekosana na baby jana usiku, at first I thought, I really don't care about your private personal issues.
And I have nothing to do with you.
And I have nothing to do with you. Ingia shambani ulime. So even for me, I had to grow. I had to understand human emotions because no matter how big your chicken farm is, it all boils down to the people working with you and for you.
One of your biggest capital.
Exactly, human capital. So I had to even grow myself and understand that, whoa, if you make rash decisions, firing people on the spot, I was good at that. Like I told you to do this, you came drunk to the farm, go home. But now, like, why were you drunk? Probably you have issues you're going through at home. So let me listen to you. And the success of a business is not in the capital that you have. It's human capital.
It's the people that you have.
It's the people.
All right.
Yeah.
Leonard,
Sure.
an important point there, it's the human beings that you have. But
Right.
even this individual who's making the transition from employment to whatever business, they need a certain frame of mind.
Correct.
And I've heard it said, and I'd like you to qualify or disqualify, that even if you're a failure at your employment, chances are you could fail at your business.
Right.
Is that necessarily true?
To some extent, I think it is. The issue is that people have to appreciate that going into business is one of the most challenging decisions you'll ever make as an individual, regardless at what age you make. When you're younger, maybe you have a chance of relapsing and going back to employment again. And by the way, if you look at the statistics, many guys actually who quit to go to work who end up getting back to get into a business, end up going back to look for a job. The older people stay because they have no choice. It's a no return. Nobody will employ you anyway, so you stick in there. But what you have mentioned is very, very true indeed. What was the question again?
In terms of if you fail, if you're a failure at your place of work, you're likely to fail. And I say that because there are some principles and things, and Karuga, you'll confirm this later, that you learn at your employment that you have to implement, even as you own. So there are lessons to be learned.
You are making a very powerful observation, and for two reasons. If there's a place where discipline is required, is in self-employment or running a business. So the behaviors you have when you're employed are very good indicators whether you'll be a good entrepreneur or not. Remember, there are people who are entrepreneur on the job, very proactive, very driven, self-motivated. They handle challenges very responsibly. That doesn't matter how things are. Do you find they have a wherewithal that is transformative in solving those problems and making better decisions and adding value to the company. Such people, when they go out on their own, their chances of becoming good, of succeeding are much, much higher. But if you are these people who are petty, look at everybody as a mistake, everybody is wrong, somebody is victimizing me, they have a kind of a victim mentality, and they are very bad fighters because they are fighters because everything is about fighting. Fighting the boss, fighting the colleagues, fighting the company. They are not proactive, they never own up what has gone wrong, they are never wrong. So that kind of a person will be setting himself up for a lot of pain should they move
into running a business or becoming an
And that is why, and I want to agree with what Mr. Karuga is saying, that there's a lot of internal communication you have to speak to yourself very properly, very clearly. And in fact, sometimes I tell people from experience, and it's my personal opinion at the end of the day, that going into self-employment should never be an emotional decision. It is such a heavy decision that you can't just be emotional about it. It's judicious. You go to think through properly, look at all the parameters. Like he even said, there are some statistics you must have at the end of the day. Interrogate them, look at them, and then see whether you'll be able to solve a solution. Because the challenge is people just feel emotional, and maybe now they are looking at Karuga, maybe now because of, you see, like we should look at him today. You are not privy to his struggles behind. He could have come in here driving a very good machine. Or rather, he eat a very good restaurant. And this guy is a farmer, he has made it, absolutely. So you are lured by the razzmatazz that we are seeing, but you are oblivious of the dynamics behind, the pain, the frustration, the struggle, the commitment, the sacrifices, they are not seen. So most people I've seen many times, and I say this with a lot of humility, people who are employed have no clue about being in business. And that's why they need to be mentored before they just feel emotional that I'll make it. Because I remember you could be a technician. A technician is somebody who's very good at what they do at work, but not a developer, not a creator, not you don't know how to look for business, but you know how to make it. You can execute it if you are given it. So you go there and then you realize there's another animal called looking for business. You may be able to execute, you are good at execution, but you don't know how a business works in. So you go there and then you realize,
I'm not ready for this.
Absolutely.
Karuga,
Yeah.
what are some of the lessons you carried from your employment that you possibly would want to advise others? Because there are those who feel that maybe I am wasting time where I am. It may not be entirely a waste of time by virtue of the fact that there are lessons that you're learning within the the employment environment that you would carry on now to either, like yourself now being a farmer.
Well, my former boss, John Wendwa, man I respect highly, he would always ask you, have you confirmed your natural sound? Have you confirmed your voiceover and your pictures? Are your pictures okay before you send them to go on air? Confirmation. Clarification. For me, carrying that to farming was, okay, we have said we are going to vaccinate our chicken on this day, all right? What vaccine did you give or are we giving today? What dosage is required? How many grams is a chicken supposed to consume of feed per day? Can you confirm with me that you actually did that? Procurement. I mean, there are things I would see, just sitting there, you would find that the office needs to buy new cameras. And I would find the IT guys or the guys in charge would be told, research on the best cameras to buy, the best computers, what's the storage capacity. Just verify and confirm and do your thorough research. Today, if you want to get into farming, or the things I'm now even embracing, like fish farming, just got into fish farming the other day. I've done extensive research for like a whole year before I got into fish farming, because I have made my mistakes before that and have failed miserably. So now what I saw at my work or place of employment is just don't be in a hurry. Just confirm and confirm again, all right? They say in media, you're only as good as your last story.
Correct.
All right? So in farming, the mistakes I was making, not because like pig farming wouldn't make business sense, it was making business sense. But for me, I got into it and I failed because I didn't do thorough research. How many grams, how many kgs should a pig be fed on? So by the 20th of the month, I'm being told, chakula kimeisha. I'm like, but I bought feeds, but I didn't know what's the feeding requirement, what proportions should I give. When it comes to selling my pigs, I didn't know that I can actually sell the pigs. I can slaughter them at home and sell to butcheries. I can value addition. There's something more I can do. I just thought, rare pig, then you're going to sell it. Come pick it up as it is. Exactly. So there are things I think someone needs to be anchored on, and that's why employment, in my opinion, is good. And please don't quit employment in a half to go and make money because you're looking at us now. Absolutely. We have gone through our learning curve. We have made stupid mistakes, and I call them, that's what they are, stupid mistakes. I mean, I got into farming, rabbit farming. Let me give an example. We were told that we are going to make a lot of money from selling rabbit urine. That's where the money is. Forget even about the meat. But I didn't ask, do we have a culture of using rabbit urine as an organic fertilizer? We do not have that. Majority of Kenyans will buy fertilizers, inorganic fertilizers, DAP, CN, and what have you. So how many rabbits do you need to rear to actually get into serious production of rabbit urine? But since it said that ex-farmer is making this money, I got into it. I got into quail farming because of the hype, because we were told an egg is 100 shillings. So we didn't ask, or I didn't ask myself, do we have a consuming culture of quail eggs and quail meat? Tuna ule mtindo, ile utamaduni, we don't have it. We never had, we don't have, I don't know whether we are going to have one. So mushroom farming is picking up very well. And anyone getting into mushroom farming, I'd ask them, do we have a growing culture of consuming? I'm not saying mushrooms are bad. They are awesome. But interrogate wherever you're being told.
How many people actually consume and eat mushroom? Yes. And where is that market? Leonard, one of the things that we all fear is failure. And in your book, as I was going through it, there is one topic that got my attention: 6 sure ways to fail.
Correct.
But failure, as much as we may fear it, is one thing that builds us. Somebody once said that, show me a successful person and I'll show you someone who's failed.
Correct.
Run us through maybe your thoughts as you are writing that particular chapter on 6 sure ways to fail, because that's something we fear.
Failure is an integral part of life. It's a package of life. And I don't know of anyone that has moved in life, in whatever endeavor they've gotten into, where failure has not been encountered. It's part and parcel of the journey. And basically, some of the best of the successes we hear of in many enterprises, even academia, even relationships, are birthed out of failure. However, when I was talking about, like as a writer, sometimes you need to capture the mindset, the attention of the reader. Now, there's failure that nobody goes out wanting to fail. Absolutely. In fact, all the failures that we encounter most of the time, because I'll be really mentally challenged if I went into a project with eyes wide open and I know I'm going to fail. All of us look for success, we look for rewards, we look for good results. But as we progress along, a number of factors emerge that prove otherwise. So one sure way to fail is I was trying to bring to attention that there's sometimes, as much as failure is something that we don't look for but comes our way, and we must learn to respond well, sometimes we act in ways that almost guarantee
that you will fail.
They will fail. It's, for example, like if I cross the road without looking left or right, chances
of failure
of getting hit by a car are very high. But minimizing failure.
And that could just be the research he's talking about.
Exactly.
If you contextualize it, it's the research he's talking about.
But if I stopped and looked left and right and did some analysis of what is happening, then I am reducing my chances. It could still be knocked. But we underestimated the distance, but
the chances of being knocked after looking
are lower.
Heavily reduced.
Exactly. So there's something I just mentioned that people just wake up and say, I'm gonna go into business. That kind of a person is actually courting disaster. And that is one sure way of failing because it doesn't have the data, doesn't have the statistics, doesn't know the market, doesn't know how everything works. And usually, most of the time, if you look at most of us, our society, and I like localizing these things to our environment because there's a way we think as Kenyans. You're going to find that people, the experts on money, don't even have the money. People who talk about making money, you make money here, you make the money there. You look at the person talking about that money, he basically doesn't even have it.
He doesn't have it.
Exactly. But guess what? People will buy him. Amazingly, people respond to that person's ideas and go and run and do it. So sometimes you look back and say, okay, excuse me, I know this feedback you've gotten. How did you wind up here? Who was your consultant? Who was advising you? Who mentored you? And you look back and say, honestly, the very source of your information is the reason why you are where we are. You are where you are.
All right.
Let me pick it up from there because he's raising a very, very interesting point. And oftentimes I get into trouble by saying this. Be very careful from where you're getting your information from. Especially what I do, there are merchants or peddlers of information. And I always ask people, interrogate, where are they in the value chain? For example, if you come to my farm and for 2-3 hours, all I'm teaching you is about the benefits of chicken. Chicken, this, chicken, that. It means that I want to sell chicks to you. All right? If that's all I'm glorifying, that's all I'm talking about. I'm of the opinion as, yes, let's go to mentors. But some mentors I have seen, and I'm seeing the pitfall, allow me to say this. I'm seeing people running to mentors or people, let's say, let me stick to farming. They go to a guy who is doing cabbages. This guy, by the end of the day, he's going to convert you to be his cabbage outgrower. He's not going to teach you about the opportunities besides farming cabbages. What else can you do? So interrogate these successful people, whatever they are telling you, because most of them just want to convert you to their whatever they're doing.
Something.
Yeah, something they want to do.
And yet they're not telling you where these cabbages are actually going to be sold, where the money is made.
Like you can't tell me, oh yeah, avocados are doing very well, oh, we are going to export avocados to China. All I'm doing is just talking about avocados. Is that all about farming? Exposed to me in the value chain. And anyone doing their research, don't stop at Google. And Google is good. I was on Google last night. It's awesome. But move away from Google and go to an actual farm. Literally a farm.
What happens on the ground?
And learn the mistakes. I actually tell people, I will not tell you of my successes. I will not tell you of how much money I make because that is not even going to help you. Let me tell you of more of the mistakes, the ugly of farming. That you will take your vegetables to the market and there's a broker there telling you, where's in Soko? And literally I've been told that.
A cartel.
A cartel. I just go with my small little car, open the boot, then you're told, you can't park here. Why? Because there's another car that's going to come and park here. So the guy just doesn't want you because you have better good-looking vegetables, all right? You go to buy feeds from a company that promises they are going to deliver feeds to your farm for free. I have gone through that. They were delivering fake feeds or feeds that were adulterated. My chicken died. And I feel like I was with that person. So I didn't know that. I just knew, okay, Google, this guy's going to deliver feeds. So interrogate whatever information you're getting, go to other farms. To date, I go to farmers who have 10, 20 chicken. I have more than them. But there's something I'm going to learn from a farmer with their 10 chicken. A guy who has a quarter of an acre has something to tell me. So even now, people who come to my farm for training, I also go to other farms. And when you tell me you're making $1 million shillings from vegetables, I'll be like, nah, something is not adding up, so I question. And it's good to question whatever you're being told. If I tell you, Mike, leave farm, leave whatever you're doing, become a farmer, come join me. Aye. Show me the numbers, show me the market, show me the consuming culture. If it's not there, then put some question. Don't get into because Caleb said.
Okay.
Or because
all right, as we wind up, Leonard, what advice would you give for somebody who is in that space of making a decision that I need to leave employment to go into business? Again, looking at the economy that we have in Kenya right now, it's nothing to smile home about. But one is caught between a rock and a hard place because stay in employment and chances of getting a salary increase are not that good. Going to business, a business taking off right now, even when you look at the statistics, we've talked about research, I think it's 7 out of 10 businesses that fail. Yeah. So what advice would you give to them?
In fact, Karuga has made some very, very profound statements, and I hope anyone who is trying to go into business can take those issues to heart. Like I said in the beginning, that this should never be an emotional decision where you are overwhelmed by emotions, either frustration or feeling good. Either way, you are emotional about it, and you say, you know something, I'm going to go into business. That would be the worst premise to start with, because it is a wild. It is wild out there. It's really, really, really challenging. It's tough and unforgiving, absolutely unforgiving, because when you're employed, your mistakes are covered by your employer. When you're on your own, your mistakes actually can actually overwhelm you, can actually drown you. So my advice is that going to start a business should be a well thought out process. Identifying the nature of business that you want to go into, get all the statistics you can get, and from credible sources. And my brother literally said here, what is the market like? And what solutions are you providing in the market which other partners are not providing? I'll give you an example I've observed, and I say this with a lot of humility. Stalls. There are stalls that sell goods, where traders trade outfits for people here and there. I'm being told that the turnover, the failure rate is very high, because somebody closes shop, they go away, another person gets in. But now if you look at the chain of that store, they are opening at the same time, so there's no edge there. They are selling the same products, there's no edge there. From the same source, there's no edge there. And then at the same price. Now, you don't have to be very intelligent to be told that that's a very, very, very competitive environment. And then now there's something on control, which is the rent. It is up there. Those guys are selling goodwill. You must pay goodwill. You must pay the rent on time. And then, but because now you don't have a captive market, all of you are fighting for the same customer. You're going to find that will be a very tough environment to be in. A
tough environment. All right, Karuga, as we come to a close, a question that I'm seeing some people are asking. Food security is one of the big pillars that we have for the government. Is there money in agriculture? Can I change profession tomorrow and join you and expect to make money?
There is money if, number one, be ready to make mistakes, because we could be here trying to appear like, don't come to, yeah. Get into farming, be ready to make mistakes. It's part of life. I mean, failure is part of life. You make mistakes. There is money in farming if you're not doing agriculture, you're doing agribusiness. And there's a big difference. Don't farm emotionally. Don't farm because you have idle land. Idle land does not mean you equals a successful farmer. Understand the market space. Before you even embrace farming or get into, and there's money in it. What crops, what animals are you keeping? There is safety in the mass market. I find many people who are quitting jobs, they are getting into niche market kind of crops or livestock. You get someone who wants to do snail farming or mushroom farming and you just quit your job. Is there a consumption market? I'll be of the opinion, start with sukuma wiki, spinach, managu, chicken, what everybody is consuming. Once you have been anchored, then you can have another side hustle of now your niche crops. There is money. But don't get into it blindly. Don't get into thinking you become an overnight success. Some of us are still on the journey.
All right. Thank you very much, Leonard Asher, who's the CEO for Empowerment Resource Technologies and also the author of a book, From Here to There, and Caleb Karuga, who's an agropreneur, for joining us this morning on Your Money, just basically to give us ideas on how to make that transition. I'll just quickly look at the Twitter poll question that we had asked earlier on, and the question that we were asking is what you feel is a solution to the revenue allocation bill that has been stagnant. We did have legislators in studio, and let me just read some of your comments. We have Ekwaro, who says that Senator Kajwang Parliament under Honorable Duale